Good afternoon. Welcome to OptionsTender. It's FOMC day. Want to take a look at SPX, NDX, QQQ, and SPY and the VIX. And we'll keep it simple off of there. We're just going to probably end off with some sort of whipsaw day. It's hard to tell. Whenever you have FOMC, you get wicks all over the place. So I don't suspect we'll have a whole bunch of movement today, except up and down. But see that continuation from whatever happens with tech and the follow through for the FOMC meeting. Okay, so we started off going down a little bit, and now we're starting to get positive. So let's look at the SPX naked setup here. We have our candles. So far we have an engulfing here. Even if you have a wick, as long as the body is engulfing the entire body of the previous candle, that would be one thing. Or you could even have a hangman. You have a nice big move all the way back up to I think it might even be a dragonfly doji or something like that. But nevertheless, we're getting some buying in here, and we'll see how this candle finishes off. But the more important thing is to see where we are with, and again, all these indicators have not changed. They're pretty much all the same except here's your traditional look. It held on to this trend right here. So do we hold on to that and continue higher? Or do we end up breaking down from this point? So the only thing that's really changed is the McClellan oscillator. It's starting to head lower. That's really clear because Nvidia is really just holding everything up here. We did add some shorts onto Nvidia today, so we'll see if that works out or not. But let's go to another point of view. That's kind of in a sense, more of a bullish point of view. Here's your Elliot Wave count that we're looking at, wave 3 and a 4, and we're completing wave 5. We have ABC for 1, ABC for 2, ABC for 3, 4, and 5, right? So an ending diagonal there at a channel top, and we're engulfing that that kind of star type doji right there so far. So we'll see how that ends. And here's just the channel by itself. All right. So that's our traditional look. We're at the top. Do we just pull back? Do we start closing some gaps? Do we just get back to the channel and go higher? We don't know that. We haven't even back tested this breakout from the ascending triangle at this point. So, all right. And let's go over to NDX. Here's the channel on NDX. We have a lot of touches here, and clearly touches down low, but paying attention to the top, and we're getting a reaction off the top of the channel there. So if we break out above the channel, boom, keep it simple. The Qs. Again, that's kind of your look here. So from the Q's point of view, here's your ascending triangle. And then we had that measured move there. We did have that measured move complete. And so we can get rid of that. And we'll see if that's it. If that's done, I don't have the channel on this one, but it's the same thing as NDX. And is there anything else we want to look at? VIX here. So the VIX, I was mentioning in the Discord, by the way, we're doing this intraday. I wanted to wait a little bit longer just so we could see some of the reactions from the FOMC. But we're doing this intraday almost 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you want to get these videos intraday, consider becoming a YouTube supporter. It's 99 cents a month. And, it comes with the Discord. It comes with the Cheddar Flow data. We saw just tons and tons of calls sweeps going into Nvidia today. Who knows where that's going to go after this, but we have earnings coming up, so a lot of factors. But this is a real interesting one right here. So we were looking at this previous triangle, this equilibrium, and we had an uptrend line here that broke down, and we back tested that along with that 8 EMA. So what the big question is, we don't have any cycles that are helping us analyze a whole bunch. Is this our actual low, or do we get pushed into this cycle low next week? Okay, this minor cycle low. All right, so right now we are rejecting off that 8, that we're back testing that trend line. Nothing really bearish about this in the overall market. We remain underneath the 50, but we'll have to see what the tech, the tech earnings do. So it can't give you a whole bunch of real feedback off of this. What I have to emphasize is just keep this on your monitor. If tomorrow you start to get some pushes above 17, and you get above this trend line, and you start pushing above these moving averages, then you have a story you could tell. In this near term, if you want to put a bullish perspective on this VIX, and that means bearish on the market, then look at this as your first initial move. Okay, so now we're getting initial move, a pullback, and so now we're getting a higher low, and we continue to move up higher tomorrow. That's the only way I can look at this as as bullish for the VIX and bearish for the market. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's go on the 65 on this and see if that kind of represents what I'm talking about. Yeah, so you could look at it if it's going to hold. We're looking at this wedge breakout, and now we're just back testing that wedge. So if that continues to be the case, then we should, we have a little bit of room to the downside. Close this gap up here, and we close this one, close that gap. And so we could just be working this as the first structure here. We'll call it a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, kind of an impulse looking, and then getting a pullback. And then we should see higher prices at that point, if this is in fact a breakout and a back test. Okay, so let's see, go back to SPY. And again, this is, here's your traditional look here. You have that channel rejecting off the channel. And so if in fact, this is going to be a lower high here, then the VIX again is back testing, and we should see this begin to accelerate to the downside. Maybe today could. We have an hour left, or start gapping down tomorrow or so. We'll have to see. We don't have any negative structure yet, so that still has to form. I've seen rare instances where it just keeps falling and falling and falling as a wave one, and then you finally get your pullback later on. But in most cases, you're looking for a 1, 2, a 1, 2, a 1, 2, and then you finally let go. And that can happen in a real rapid style. It doesn't have to be totally clear, or it could be a much bigger equilibrium, and it looks like a triangle or so that fails. Okay, now I have to, and we close this gap here too. So I have to mention once again, these options expected moves. It's not very typical for price action to hit one end and hit the other end. Okay, now we have special circumstances here. We have all these catalysts that are happening right now. So it can, but it's just not something you think is a probable situation. So I don't want to, I just want to let you know it can happen, but we're not banking on that. We're not putting on these Friday puts for this to fail. We have our swings out to into November. So all right, so let's see what happens here. Nothing really we just have to let price action happen. But I just think that it's less probable that we go higher and that we start breaking out from this channel to go higher. And if we do, all right, fantastic, then we have to change our attitude on some of these things and look for meme stocks for calls and Beyond Meats and stuff like that. But as of right now, Things are looking like they are rejecting Nvidia. Maybe we'll give you a little bonus here. Nvidia just closing the gap would be my guess. So we have these, you have this former channel here that we're rejecting off of, and an expanding ending diagonal. That's how I'm looking at this, as a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, with the fifth wave being the longest. And I'm looking for this gap to close. So the trade that we took on today was a lotto into Friday. Now, I know I just said those aren't our swings. It was just a small position. And I was just looking for the gap to close. And so that should be a nice profitable trade if that's the case. If this does close by Friday, then that'll be nice. And really, it's a theoretical trade because we're so far expanded out of here. It's very typical for larger buyers and sellers to hedge after they've, after they've seen this move happen. You can hedge, and oftentimes it happens to where it comes back to the options expected move on the upper end. I'm not expecting anything more than that, but I just would like to see a gap close. So not looking for the entire retracement back to that options expected move, but that would be the back test to the breakout point as well. So anyway, I hope all this helps. Don't forget to like and subscribe and get this out to you, and we'll see you tomorrow with probably the real price action.